Hello guys, I'm Tom. Today we will see what the alien stork is. One of the new, most chilling, memorable, and terrifying monsters we can see in the new film VHS Beyond, just released on the streaming service The Charter, is the entity known as the stork, which appears in the short film of the same name, and is the first we see in the movie, after the main story. This is a sinister alien creature that kidnaps young children and gives them a very macabre fate, one much worse than death. That is why in this video I will explain in detail the story of the stork from VHS Beyond, and for that, I will provide a complete summary of the short film where it appears. Then, I will explain the physical appearance of this creature, what we know about its personality and behavior, and what its purpose was. I will also talk a little about the behind-the-scenes process and how they created this memorable monster for the film. Well, without further ado, let's begin. The short film. The stork starts with a group of police officers who belong to a special team called Warden, and we follow a new guy named Segura who just joined the team and whose purpose is to film all of their operations. The Warden team is revealed to be a special squad funded by the city, tasked with investigating paranormal events that occur throughout the area. The captain explains to Segura that the team is like a family and that he has to obey all orders given to him because they must look out for each other. The captain tells Segura to relax and meet his new teammates. The captain then talks to the team and informs them that the night before there was another kidnapping, making it the 17th child kidnapped in just 3 months. The good news is that someone followed the person who took the baby, so they now have a location where they might be able to catch those responsible and put an end to these horrific and brutal kidnappings. The captain says that they will go tonight, and one of the officers, nicknamed JT, who is one of the fathers whose daughter was kidnapped, becomes very agitated. Another officer comments that JT is becoming a burden on the team. However, the captain responds that he will handle it. The captain then speaks to JT and tells him that when they go on their mission that night, he has to stay calm and maintain a cold, calculated attitude without letting anger take control. JT responds that he will be fine. Everyone prepares to leave and equips their different weapons and ammunition. They then get into a police van and head to their destination, with Segura appearing somewhat nervous and angry. Eventually, the police arrive at a large, abandoned house on the outskirts of the city in a remote rural area. They see a man with a chainsaw outside the house and realize that he doesn't look like a normal human based on how he walks. So they prepare and say they will deal with anyone inside who is a threat, whether human or not. The police look through the windows and see no movement inside the house, so they proceed to enter. Segura, a bit rattled, makes a lot of noise, which causes a zombie-like creature to come down the stairs and attack them. However, the police easily take care of it. Then, another monster emerges from one of the rooms on the first floor, and they also dispatch it quickly with their weapons. JT kills another creature, but one of these strange and grotesque creatures attacks Segura and grabs him, rendering him immobile, which scares him quite a bit. However, his teammates save him, remove the creature, whom they nickname Brooder, and kill it. JT proceeds to move further into the house, separating from his teammates. The captain asks a few of them to go with him quickly and tells Segura to follow him. The team begins advancing through the house, eliminating all the brooders they encounter, with the entire squad well prepared, and it becomes clear that they know how to efficiently eliminate the monsters. Although JT lets his anger get the better of him and advances too far, climbing the stairs. When the police enter the kitchen, they come across a grotesque refrigerator filled with rotten meat and what looks like chewed or ground meat inside various jars or containers, all labeled food. This strikes Segura as very strange, so he films it. The team then separates again because the chainsaw brooder begins chasing Segura, forcing him to climb to the second floor of the house, where he hides from the monster. Once the creature leaves, they hear what sounds like sinister chanting, and Segura sees what appears to be a figure made from sticks and branches of a giant bird or a stork, which is very strange to him because it's surrounded by candles. The figure seems to be on some kind of altar. Then they hear screams, and Segura goes down the stairs, where he finds the police killing more of these creatures. JT decides to repeatedly stab the chainsaw brooder with his knife. After they seemingly kill it, one of the police officers tells him to calm down and asks if the monsters hurt him, but he says he is fine, although he is very agitated and quite angry. When analyzing the bodies of these monsters, the police realize that all of them have white eyes and show a wound on their forehead and head that looks like a hole, as if it split the head in two. One of the officers says this must be part of a ritual, but the captain responds that only God knows. They all hear a very strange noise on the third floor of the house, which sounds like banging, so they decide to go upstairs and hear a baby's crying. Therefore, Segura runs ahead, shouting, "Riley, I'm here, I'm going to save you." The captain tells them they need to go up slowly and not rush. So they let JT go first, and in an organized and strategic manner, the police ascend to the third floor, proceeding very carefully. They then see a hole in the ceiling and notice a small asteroid or meteorite in a room which is open, and they realize something came out of it. The captain tells them not to touch that thing and to continue with their mission. The police are then cornered by a brooder, which they shoot in the legs, and then they analyze and examine it. They realize it has a wound on its forehead, but it doesn't have a brain, which confuses and disturbs them. One of the officers tells Segura to record through a small hole, and it is here that they hear JT's screams and some very strange growls in a rather macabre manner. When they say they're going to rescue JT, a hoarse voice begins to sing, "Twinkle, twinkle, little star, where are you?" And then a brooder appears, very terrifying, with white eyes and the same head wound, which horrifies Segura. This is why he tells them to be very careful as they proceed. Police realize they cannot enter a room that is blocked, so they go for the chainsaw to remove the obstruction. When the captain and Segura go for the chainsaw, the seemingly dead brooders get up, and we see that they have mutated in some way. Therefore, the captain uses the chainsaw and kills them all. After the blocked area is cleared, they enter a dark room with many small, dim lights and a TV with static. Inside the room, they encounter a brooder carrying a baby, so they let it go to the other room. They all then head up to the attic, which, curiously, is completely filled with branches, as if it were the nest of a bird. Upon entering, they see many cribs and come across a baby whose mouth has transformed into a kind of beak. Everyone hears very strange groans of pain and turns toward a part of the room, all dark. It is here that they encounter JT and the monster responsible for everything, which is the stork. The creature looks like a gigantic alien bird, all wet and slimy with a vaguely humanoid appearance. It is consuming JT's brain and kills him in a brutal and morbid way. They all freeze in fear upon seeing the strange creature and wonder what they are witnessing. Then they see that the creature seems to be preparing to feed another baby with what it just consumed. That's when the captain tells them to shoot everything they have at the monster, and the team quickly regains their focus and shoots at the creature with their submachine guns and shotguns. However, even though they attack it with everything they've got, it doesn't die quickly and is only delayed slightly. JT rises as a brooder and attacks Segura, which causes the alien stork to stab him with its beak and injure him. The police kill the zombified JT, and after many continuous attacks with their weapons, they finally kill the stork. With the death of the monstrous alien abomination, Segura is helped to get back up, which marks the end of this monster's story. Even though Segura is injured, he tells the captain that all of this has inspired him to continue being part of the Warden team, and that he wants to help them kill these kinds of monsters so that everyone can live safely. Officer Ivy asks what they will tell the families, and the captain replies that it's better to keep everything a secret and not inform them about what happened to their babies and children. One of the baby's cribs begins rocking by itself, and noticing this, the captain returns and crushes the stork's head, finally ending the monster once and for all. The short film ends with a picture of the police officers and the Warden team with the stork's body, in some form celebrating that they've finally dealt with this terrible threat. Now that we've thoroughly covered the stork story, I want to talk about its physical appearance, what we know about its personality and behavior, and how this creature actually works. Also, what its possible purpose was. The stork looks like a very large alien bird, as it seems to stand over 2 meters tall easily. Behind the scenes of the film, it's shown that the costume and animatronic were more than 2.5 meters tall, which indeed shows it's quite large. The creature has no feathers on its body, its skin is completely gray, and it appears slimy, as if covered in some sticky and grotesque liquid. Its neck is quite long and somewhat resembles that of an ostrich. Its head is large and bulbous, with a pair of white eyes. Additionally, it has a bird-like beak, which is very long and sharp. The creature's body is somewhat humanoid, as it has 2 arms, 2 legs, and a torso, which looks curiously muscular and robust. The beast's arms end in very sharp claws, and it doesn't seem to have visible wings, although we can assume they are folded at its forearms, as its skin looks somewhat wrinkled. The creature has a somewhat protruding belly and visible folds around what would be its chest, as if the bones of its ribs were showing. All of these traits give the alien stork a very chilling and memorable physical appearance, which looks extremely unnatural and grotesque, but at the same time, awesome. We don't really know much about the personality of the alien stork. What we do know is that it possesses quite a decent level of intelligence, as it is implied that this beast mentally controls the zombies it creates. Furthermore, it seeks to reproduce and create other beings like itself. This is why it uses babies to transform them into hybrids with characteristics similar to those of the creature. We can conclude that it is very evasive, as for a long time, the Warden Squad couldn't locate it, and for over 3 months they were unable to find its whereabouts. From what we see in the film, it is likely that the alien stork fell from the meteorite in that house, in that rural and remote area far from the city. It is from there that it quickly emerged from the asteroid and consumed the inhabitants of the house. Using its beak, the stork devoured the brains of its victims, thus transforming the humans who lived in that house into creatures like zombies called brooders, which obey all of its commands and are implied to be telepathically controlled by it. The stork devours the brains of humans, but it is implied that it introduces something into the heads of its victims, which helps it control the zombies. On many occasions, this thing it introduces helps the stork mutate the brooders slightly. Using the brooders, the stork began sending them throughout the city to kidnap babies or very young children, which this monster adopted as its own offspring. By rehydrating the brains of the brooders, combined with another substance the creature creates, the monster would then feed the babies, which started mutating them and transforming them into hybrid monsters similar to itself. The food stored in the brooders' refrigerators is implied to be the rehydrated brains of the stork, which they kept to feed the babies and continue the transformation. We don't really know what the creature's ultimate goal was, but it is strongly implied that it wanted to spread and create more beings like itself, in a way starting an unconventional invasion with more creatures like it and the help of the brooders. The director of the short film is the talented Jordan Downey, who explained that the inspiration for the short came from some images created by the talented artist Oleg Dovenko, who made a series of images called The Stork. These are very cool black and white images that capture monsters as if they were illuminated by a camera flash at a precise moment. Jordan became fascinated with these images he saw 5 or 6 years ago and wanted to somehow translate them into a short film, which is how the idea for the Stork short came about. Jordan Downey says that the story seems quite simple, as we follow a group of police officers investigating an old and eerie house and begin killing what appear to be zombies, which is quite normal for a film in this genre. However, once they begin to climb the floors of the house, things get very strange, and they start encountering much more sinister and brutal things. For the film, a gigantic animatronic costume of the alien stork was created, which was completely practical and made by the talented artist Patrick Maggi, who also created Ratma and the Vampire from VHS 94 and has been involved in many other horror and monster films. The talented actor Dane DeLiegro, who previously played the feral predator in Prey, portrayed this monster, as he is a very tall actor who excels at portraying creatures and monsters. It was necessary to have someone very tall and strong for the role of the monster, because the stork suit, although made of latex and silicone, also had fiberglass parts and was quite heavy. The short was filmed on location in an abandoned house, which was decorated to look much more worn and terrifying, as if it were a haunted house. In the end, all the effort from the director, the actors, the production team, and the artist Patrick Maggi brought us a very cool and memorable monster, which is one of the best in this new installment of VHS because of how awesome and chilling it is. And well, that's everything we know about the alien stork from VHS Beyond. Honestly, I think this monster is one of the most memorable ones that appear in this new entry in this epic franchise. I really loved this short film because it had a great tone and atmosphere. I loved the concept of the special squad that is in charge of killing supernatural beings, and the brooders had a pretty malevolent and terrifying design, especially because they weren't just regular zombies, but it is implied that they were connected through a hive mind to the stork, the final monster. I honestly loved it as it looked quite macabre, very imposing and large. Seeing how it devoured JT and then made some very characteristic and strange sounds seemed like a very cool and somewhat scary sequence. Although it was very resilient, I think it would have been epic if it had ended up killing more members of the squad and then escaped, leaving us with a more open and slightly scarier ending. Still, I think this being is like Ratma this year because I believe it is very memorable and creepy. But let me know your opinion in the comments below. Did you already know the stork from VHS Beyond? Did you know its full story and origins in the short? Which of the two monsters do you think is more terrifying, and do you like Ratma or the alien stork more? And lastly, do you think this creature was trying to carry out an invasion? Or do you think it had another more mysterious and sinister purpose? Comment below with your answers to these questions and your general opinion about the stork from VHS Beyond. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. I truly appreciate it. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up and share it to support the channel. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of my new videos. These are very cool black and white images that capture monsters as if they were illuminated by a camera flash at a precise moment.